Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales, a podcast about how to make your own garments, plus behind the scenes, what it's really like to run a sewing business. I am Johanna Lundström, the owner of the sewing brand The Last Stitch.
My name is Malena, Hjerpe, and I own Hazelhen Patterns.
And today's episode is a follow-up to last week's episode number 58, where Malena was coach slash therapist slash mentor, trying to encourage me, Johanna, to level up my sewing business and find those stones that I might not have turned in order to make my business a bit more successful. And we had a really awesome chat. And the plan was initially to talk about both our businesses, but we ended up talking about me for almost an hour, unintentionally. I clearly had a lot of things to talk about. So if you haven't listened to the episode, you might want to go back. But today, Malena, we're going to shine a light on you finally. So I'm really
exciting. But before we continue with me, myself, and I, how has it been? How did my coaching go well? Have you? Yeah. What are your thoughts behind? Have you done anything on your? I've seen some pictures on the website and stuff like that.
Yes, actually, it was kind of because when we recorded this episode, I was like in a super low state. Just for a little bit of background, if I had like some kind of very stubborn flu, and you could probably hear that on my voice. I've had repeated over months. I think I've been somewhat ill. And then I returned to my day job, and I just feel super overwhelmed and not that motivated about, leveling up my business. But the thing was that after I chat, and then I had also lunch with a couple of colleagues of mine that also have a space in the same studio where I am. And that kind of all unlocked everything that day. And it was like all the doors open and the floodgates were open. So I've redone my website since at least the front page, and I'm working behind the scenes on other pages. I've scripted 3 YouTube videos that I plan to record tomorrow, and I've also began blogging again, which I haven't done I think since February, and I just have this super clear vision of all the things I want to do moving forward. And I felt that having that chat made me take my business more serious again. And I think it's so easy to get stuck again. That's why we need friends, we might need therapy, we need other people. I guess that's my conclusion. And I've also made a decision on some bigger changes as well that I can update you listeners moving forward, perhaps after the summer, coming into fall. I have some more exciting news to share. So I'm feeling, from being at the bottom of the barrel last week we recorded, I feel like now I'm unstoppable. We'll see how long.
But that's an amazing turn. And it's a little bit funny because when you have been sick and you're like really sick, a couple of weeks sick, it has happened a couple of times now while we have been podcasting. It's amazing what happens afterwards. It's like, yes, I have been sick. Let's write a book. Yes, I have been sick. Now we're going to change everything.
Yes, I know. So probably the best thing that can happen for my business is me getting a really stubborn cold or a flu.
Yeah, like you need to physically lie down for a while. Like, not just work, get a little bit of a space from everything. And then all of a sudden, like, yes, let's go from rock bottom to 3 YouTube clips, post videos the next day. It's like, whoo, you're unstoppable now.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it definitely, again, I guess it also makes the case for resting and clearing your mind, how important that is. Because if you only see what's in front of you and you're not able to take a step back, that's also, I guess, where you get those feelings of being stuck. And especially, I mean, if you in a workplace, you have meetings, you maybe have team meetings, you maybe make like yearly plans or goals for your company or your organization that you work for. But we have to do all these things by ourselves. So there's no wonder that we occasionally get stuck and feel unmotivated because we don't get that external input. We all have to be all those things ourselves. So I mean, I guess everyone can relate to this, trying to do something on their own. It's so hard. And that's why I'm so grateful that we have this podcast. And I have you as a friend and a colleague, because, yeah, it changed everything for me.
So maybe we need to have coaching sessions like every half year or something,
Yeah.
or like a season kickstart, or something. We need to create those moments instead for us, so we get a little bit energized and get some inputs on how to move forward.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make that happen. It's good also. I hope that you listening also enjoy this kind of episode, because it definitely gives you a bit of an inside perspective, and even though things might look nice on the outside, I mean, we always have these internal struggles and lack of motivation or time or energy. It's a reality, and it's so nice to talk about these things and being honest about it. I feel it's very refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, I think it's 100% that other business owners will relate to that struggle if you are alone in your business, or if you have several people as well. Like it's we all face the same struggles.
Yeah, totally. So now, Malena, it's your turn.
Yay!
Yay! So, would you like to share what you are currently thinking about and want to talk more in depth about, and perhaps getting a little bit of coaching from me?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am actually very close to launching my next pattern, the Bilberry top. It has been a marathon of making this pattern into reality. It's taking so long. But now I actually have had it tested. I have gathered feedback from the testers. I haven't done any updates from it yet. But I'm thinking about how to do the launch in the best way. And I've had so many shifted my mind about how I should do it and not. And so the importance of launching something new, how to get the momentum, how to do marketing, how to do it basically, for it to be the most success as possible.
So I'm really curious, what has been your launch method for previous patterns?
Get it done, get it out, being so sick and tired of it, so you just want to hit publish. That's about it. I mean, obviously you try to do marketing for it on Instagram, but I think that has basically been it. I mean, posting on Instagram. I didn't have mailing list before. When I launched my Malva tea pattern, I had that as a free pattern when you sign up for my email list. And then obviously that was the latest thing I launched, so I haven't done anything yet. So now I have the mailing list to work with, of course also Instagram. Pinterest I've started to work a little bit, but I haven't done anything in about a year basically. I want to work more on that as well. And my website, I have a blog there as well. I think I haven't updated that on a year as well. So I want to do it now in the best way possible. I was thinking of I just want to get it done before the summer. I just want it out. I just want to, when you're so close, you just want to finish the finish line and get done with it. But I read, it wasn't blog post, I think it was Just Pattern. This again, I love it when other business owners share, they are being transparent about their business, about their struggles, realities, results, because then you can really take that in consideration when you do your thing. Because she posted on Instagram that the 2 first week when she has released a pattern, that's when she made the biggest sale. I mean, obviously she has a huge following, and it's a lot bigger compared to me. But it was really, really visible on her. She posted like a graph, like the first 2 weeks, huge selling, and then it dropped down drastically, and then it just, continue on selling a little bit. And when she did an expansion pack release, the sale went up a little bit. on Black Friday sale? Yeah, a little bit. But it was those 2 weeks that was like huge compared to the rest of the weeks. So that made me rethink. I need to focus more on the actual launch. I can't just get it done, get it out. I need to work more with marketing. Well, obviously, to get a great launch. And I don't have the time to do that. Not now. I don't have the energy.
Yeah,
or I do have one week before, because I work 100% now with freelancing. I have 1 week in June, mid-end of June, where my kids are still at daycare or school, but I am not working with freelance work. So I have that week when I can do my own stuff. So then I want to like full on focus on this launch. But I don't think launching that week will be good because it's basically middle of the summer almost, feels like. So I'm thinking you're going to agree with me here. I'm thinking of launching it after the summer. Is my conclusion.
Totally. I totally agree with you. And I think it's very easy to underestimate how much work the launch is, especially not just in time, but in energy. And I think, as you say, once you have finished all the things that goes behind the scenes of creating a sewing pattern, and I highly recommend you go back and listen to our episode where we talk about how to do a sewing pattern from start to finish. It's so much work. So it's pretty impossible, I think, energy-wise, to switch to it's a completely different mindset you have to go into. So I assume, because you said that launching has not been your strong suit previously, have you looked into other pattern brands and tried to figure out what that they are doing around launches and what you can learn from them?
Yeah, I mean, those who are really successful, they have so much, how do you say, you can see user content,
user-generated content.
Other people have made, either if it is through the testing or things like that, that they have a lot of pictures there that they can gather from other sewists. When I do the pattern test, I am very, like, for me it's like, okay, I want you to test the pattern, the fit. I want you to send pictures so I can check if the fit looks the way I intended it. And I want you to give me feedback on the sewing instructions. That's it. And I think that is still quite, and I give them a free pattern from my collection as a thank you, which I think is like, thank you for this amazing job that you're doing to me. I'm ashamed that I'm giving you so little back. Huge thank you. So for me to demand that they would take pictures for me to use for marketing, that's like, I can't, that's too much. I mean, either you test it or you ask people to help with marketing. And here we have talked about this. Then it becomes a completely total thing as well with marketing rules there and
like ad labeling and all this kind of stuff.
Then I'm not really comfortable there on how to do it in the best legal way, basically. Obviously I would love to have lots of pictures to share, but I don't really know how to do that in a sustainable way.
So I think the first thing is that you are probably not having enough content to keep a marketing campaign going, right, when you launch the pattern, if I'm correct. So you probably need to figure out that first. How can you create a content and a hype at the launch state? And I mean, I agree with you. The way most businesses do it is to use a lot of user-generated content. So I guess the first, you do have testers, and I mean, you can perhaps use some of those photos as well. Would you feel comfortable asking for a bit more content from your testers, perhaps?
I could ask them, of course. Then I have made 2 samples that I've given to my my friend, photographer and model. So she is gonna take pictures of that. I could also, I mean, an easy, quick way would also to sew more samples for her to take more pictures of, and then I have a little bit more control, so to say, of also like what the color schemes are, and just that they suit my visual appearance on Instagram or my blog. So that, of course, but also on the blog I have planned to make a sew along on both option. Because I have a D cup version and a B cup version. So 2 different sew-alongs on those garments. So then I also will get some content to talk about and show. In my sewing instructions, I have illustrations made in Illustrator. Do you say diagram? Like it's not photos there, but then on the blog I will add photos instead. So it would be a great companion if something is. You don't understand it in the sewing instructions, you can go to the blog instead and see if it's more clear with the pictures, depending on what kind of, what's more understandable for you. So in that sense, I do get a little bit of a content, but is there enough?
Yeah, and it's also like a slow build, of course. I mean, you build your audience over time, and if we go back to Just Patterns, Delphine, I think her name is. I mean, she has blogged several years about her journey from being what perhaps both you and I are doing, launching a pattern and then crossing our fingers that it's going to take, which it doesn't really. And then she kind of made a pivot and really started to working more with marketing, like doing more outreach. So that's probably something you could figure out. And also, of course, in terms of video content, I mean, you have a lot of stills. Are you able to ask your friend Malena, the model, which incidentally has the same name as you, to also do video content?
Yeah, I could do that, definitely.
So that's probably like an easy way of just making it more to live on. And I also believe in creating variety. It definitely helps because you want to have fresh content in some ways. So how many samples do you have now?
I gave her 2, and I've talked about this before, but I wasn't really happy about the colors on them.
Right.
I said that to her, and I was like, can you make magic work with these? Let's see. But I have also sold some samples for myself because I also want to appear more on my own Instagram feed. But yeah, I'm thinking of making some more sample or taking those samples and asking her to photograph me so I get proper images.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to take images of myself, but oh my god, it's difficult.
Yeah, and it also helps switching it up a little bit with the environment as well, because even though you're wearing the same garment, if you're doing it in a slightly different atmosphere, it also looks kind of fresh or with a different styling. So you do not have to have like 8 garments in order to create variety, I think. Another strategy that I've seen, and I'm not sure, I think you maybe try that, but I've seen that it's quite common that when you launch a pattern that a lot of people offer a limited time only discount in order, I guess, to boost sales and get that way more people sewing the pattern and being able to share that on social media. Is that something you have tried, and what's your take on it? And I mean, what are your thoughts around that? Like even adding like a 20% discount. I've seen quite a few designers do this.
I think I've done it for all patterns basically, like a long weekend or a week sale. I think I had 20% as well, just to like kickstart the sale a little bit and make it, because it's a little bit tricky when you have it's so different when you have a physical product. Then you have you need to get it out of stock at the end of a season because you have new inventory coming in. But with a PDF pattern, you don't have that. So there is no reason to put it on sale at the end of the season. Like, it doesn't work like that.
No.
So then instead, having a little bit of launch sale, it's I think that's a great strategy, and I have been thinking about how to do that in the best way. Before I just have had it 20% off directly on Etsy, like you don't need a code or anything. But I'm thinking now also just to get a little bit of data for myself to know where are people coming from, to have like different, to have a code, but being different on, for example, here on the podcast, to offer a code here to the listeners, to have a code on Instagram, a different code, so I see who is buying from. Since I sell from Etsy, I don't know where the traffic is coming from. And also have on my mailing list, maybe have a little bit of a bigger discount for those who are on my mailing list, because I want people to get on the mail list. Like that's the, that's an encouragement to then get on the mail list, and maybe have 20% off for my Instagram or pod listeners, and have 30% off for my mailing list subscribers, just to like encourage people to sign on there. So that's what I'm definitely having some kind of launch sale
offer. Yeah, it makes sense. And you also want to keep the people on the email list, and a way of being that is if you very clearly are stating this is a exclusive offer for your newsletter subscribers. By the way, subscribe to Malena's newsletter, link in the description section, so you get the first dibs on this special future discount if Malena is going forward with these plans. I think that's a good idea. And also to packaging it, because this is especially for you, so that they are also feeling that it's worthwhile staying on your list, and to feel like seen and chosen. I think that's a good signaling. And while I personally do not do discount in my launches, I think it also depends on, I mean, for you, I guess your goal now, you want to have like a banger, right? Because you feel like you don't get those spikes when you launch a pattern the way you can see other designers do. So a way of doing that, because that's you want to like get more momentum, right? So adding, I mean, a discount will create more sales. That's just the way it works. So for you, if you I mean, the give and take here, because you have to think more money but less sales. I guess that's the thing.
And for me, when it comes to this part of my business, I'm not so focused on making sale money right now, because this is not where I get my income from. I do that from my freelance work. So I have right now, I think my focus is more getting out there, getting people to know me, spreading the word, spreading the patterns. That's also why I think it's a great thing to have, for me, have pattern testers, because then people can also try and see, do they like it, do not, before they invest in anything. And also why I give away a free pattern, firstly because I'm very grateful that they have done that work, but also like, here, try another one. I see it as the free samples, basically. When, I mean, in food stores, if a brand launch something new, they have free samples to give out. I'm also thinking like, could I do something like that now before the summer, just to but I don't know practically how to do that, but it would be great to have some people also test it, do wearing tests during the summers. And
I think you probably, I know, because I think you are on the cusp of actually going outside your comfort zone. But I think you have a little bit easier to do this than I have. So I think this is probably where you could definitely start to experiment and see what do you feel comfortable in terms of that. And I definitely think that if we look at all most successful pattern companies, they have done some type of outreach before the launch. So they can stash that. And I think you're very right in waiting and not dropping the pattern, because for me, for instance, it depends a little bit, but I usually try to have my pattern done at least a month, ideally, before I do the launch, or at least almost done, because it's just a different type of switching. And I can confirm that because we have a group chat with us and a few other sewing entrepreneurs, and we, not everyone, but most had the similar spike. I mean, I checked my last pattern, the Vida knit pants that I launched in, I think, October or November of last year, and it's been a steady seller. But I still, that the first 4 weeks I've made 80% of the sales, and that was without the discount code. I should also mention, no discount code, just the launch, and the majority of the sales came from my email newsletter.
Yeah,
not from
it
Instagram.
Makes sense because I mean, if
and
something is
YouTube.
launched, like, why would, if you want it, why would you wait? I mean, then you obviously buy it straight away during the launch. So yeah, I need to work on how to create awareness on how to spread the word, basically.
Yeah. And another thing that I think is important that I have lacked a little bit in my latest launches is sneak peeks. And that you can also offer for your email list. Like, what's been going on lately? I've been working on these designs, and you can share tiny snippets of certain things. And because that, you are kind of warming up your audience in preparation. And that's also a very easy thing to do. From a content perspective, you don't have to make a massive tutorial. You just have to take a couple of photos. What I've been working on lately, drops, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm seeing a blog post in front of me, a mail. It's like, the journey of this one. It's not a short story.
It's a story. It's a story.
4 years ago.
Yeah, you can write basically a novel about this thing.
Yeah.
And we have talked about this pattern extensively on this podcast.
That's why I'm like, I don't want to wait until after summer. I want to get it out now. But I'm like, okay, I need to do it properly now. I can't like stumble on the last steps of this marathon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's it needs to be done.
Yeah. And I also think, again, this is going outside your comfort zone, but you do have that element of storytelling, and you could also do that in Reels on Instagram, for instance, where you show your face and you talk a little bit about the design process and the fact that this was also a user voted style. So you have the community behind this style, because it was started as a, because you have a whole, I mean, you have a story behind this pattern. It's a long story.
It's a story. It's a sad story, but it's a story.
Yeah. Wait until that episode. Once Malena is launching the pattern, she's going to tell the entire story with pictures.
I think all the podcast listeners have heard it multiple times. It's like, isn't she done with this already?
No. So again, that could be a slightly humorous take on it as well, and show the different, you have this story when you took this class for this 3D software, and you made several designs as a part of the was it like a assignment, right?
Yeah, and then you had the final project.
Instagram followers to vote, right, on their favorite designs. So you can also speak back and like, okay, you said yes, here it is. So I mean, you have all these angles that you can toy with that goes outside having pretty pictures.
Yeah.
And still,
definitely need to do something about that. Definitely. Yes. Absolutely.
So
and
it's
I
good
also want to create...
You have time now.
Yeah. And I also want to create some... I have thought about this for every single pattern, but I haven't really gotten the time to... to make how to do like a blog post or newsletter, how to do fitting adjustments, or how to do pattern hacks, how to do like those kind of things. So you actually, and also it has a pleat at the front, and the pleat opens up at the bottom, and like if you don't like it, how can you adjust it to suit you, or how to a little bit like how to work with a pattern. So that I want to do before I also launch it, so I have it ready, and I wanted to do that, I said, on all the single patterns. I haven't really done it, but we wrote a book instead, so I kind of think that I kind of got it covered.
yeah And it's also a good idea. I mean, what I do too now is you can also attach it to the book. I mean, in ways, and refer to the books and use illustrations for the book. I mean, you have so much content pre-made now.
True.
Because I have been doing that. I mean, for my garments, and when I do any type of launches now, because I can always refer. And also because I do campaigns for my older patterns as well, and then I always tack it on, like, here is a fitting tip, or if you want to learn how to do a full bust adjustment, blah, 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 check their book. So that's how I do it. So you have this where you can lift different products and use content, because we have this wonderful resource now that we can just reuse in lots of different ways. And that can, like, boost sales for both. They can, what's it say? Shift slips. What's the saying in English? Yeah, ships or something like lift each other or something. Yeah, I don't remember the saying, but rise helps all ships or something like rising tide. Oh, something. Anyways, that's probably the way you could start to approach your future launches now, especially when you're doing garments that are made from knit fabrics, which you do primarily for your own pattern line. So that's probably a no-brainer as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
Like like in the dart tutorial, because do you have you have the dart, right? Because you have the dart, or do you have the you don't have D cup.
No, it's like on the B cup there is no dart or anything, but then on the D cup there is a seam from the shoulder, like across the chest down to the bottom.
Yeah, so it's a princess seam.
Yeah, exactly. Again, and it's a little bit more shaped, the waist and everything. Yeah. And so here you can do, I mean, it's just a D cup, but with a full bust adjustment, since it has that seam. I mean, you can do a great full bust adjustment on that, because you have the seam, you get the width and length and everything on the right place on your body. Yeah. So it will be great to do a full bust adjustment on. Yeah, yeah. And again, we have that in our book, so it's so easy to. Rising tide helps all ship, or something like that. I think that's the saying. Yeah. So you have all this stuff that you can just tack on and expand upon, because obviously the pattern instructions, there's a little bit limitation there, but I mean there's so many ways you can reuse content for those common fitting issues that we all run into when we are. Yeah, it's always that, and also now since I have two versions of it. The sewing instructions the sewing is a little bit different, so I had to make quite a lot of illustrations for them, so it becomes so long. You don't want to release a book for every single pattern, so this is like so great instead than to do a blog post about it, and also showcase. Then, I mean, if you not sure if you want to buy it or not, you can check out the blog post and get a pretty good idea what it's all about. So I definitely I think I have a lot that 1 week when I can work on this. I have a lot of things to do. Yeah. Do you think realistically that you will be able to pull this off? Yeah, I mean, I have done basically everything now, hustled it in whenever I can, on the weekends, on the lunch break, so to actually get a 1 week when I can just focus on this, I mean, that will be amazing. And also, like, this is a very personal reason why I don't want to hustle and do this now in the evenings and in the weekend. It's spring here, and all of a sudden, like this week, it has started to become a little bit warm, and I'm a passionate gardener. Whenever I get a minute extra, I'm outside in my garden. I don't want to do work at the moment. No. I'm only outside gardening. That's my hobby. That's my passion. Yeah. So that's also like, I have zero urge to work extra at the moment. I'm just looking at my garden. I'm like, I need to be out there. I need to do things, because spring, short window to plant things, and because in the summertime it's a little bit too late for that. So I really don't have the time.
No.
to do a proper launch at the moment.
No. It's very good that you realize that and understanding, because I mean, we only get one shot on launching. We can of course relaunch things, and I do that occasionally, but still, as the stats showed from Just Patterns and what I think we all in the business can confirm pretty much, especially if you're working towards oral stuff, it is it's a thing. Launching is a thing. It's a separate thing. Yeah. And because we talked a little bit about that before we started recording, is the fact that taking launching serious is also taking your business seriously, right?
Yeah, because it is marketing. And how important is marketing? Well, it's super important. Like, without proper marketing, I mean, things are just not... When it's such a saturated market, marketing is huge. It's unfortunately, it's huge.
Yeah, it is. And I think because also in a way, because sometimes for you, I mean, you have a full-time job, you are not dependent on the financials of releasing a pattern, and that in a way could perhaps hinder your motivation to do a proper launch, right? Because as you say, you're not dependent on the money to make a living for the patterns, but I think that's a mind shift that you perhaps need to make, to figure, okay, yeah, I don't need this money, but I also want my pattern company to grow. Exactly. So I have to treat it like I want to expand the business, and not just do this as a thing when I get a feeling, and then I put something out, and and then I drop on off the face of earth for 3 months, like, because I'm exhausted and have to work on other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, the dream would be to work 50% with freelance and 50% with my own patterns, but I'm not even close to that. And of course, that requires small sales, so I will be able to rely on that as an income, and I'm not close to that one yet, and I do want to go there somewhere. So it has to be treated in a different way then, not just as a side hobby, side hustle, side business, as a proper, but it's a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, and it's also, as we talked about, for me as well, it's like a mind shift focus as well. I mean, time is one thing, but I also think that, because when we have areas where we struggle and we have this roadblock that we have to climb over, sometimes climbing over that feels so difficult and unfamiliar that we tend to just skip that step. And sometimes we have to figure out a way of being able, because we want to take us to the next level, we need to climb over that roadblock in order to get further. And I think that's where both you and I struggle a bit, that we have these. So it's a shift in your brain, I think, that needs to happen as well. It's not just about finding extra hours in the week or taking time to do this focus work. It's taking your business seriously and being prepared to go outside your comfort zone in order to make that happen.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a training thing as well. I mean, just when we talked last week about me sleeping on my YouTube channel, that I don't really, which is has always been my strongest way of reaching out and reaching a larger audience and growing my business, because I'm not doing this regularly anymore. The hurdle has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger to film a YouTube video, and I think it's the same thing for you here, that you haven't done a proper launch before like this, so it's unfamiliar water that you. But if you want to reach your goal,
for 4 years, and it's just like, oh my god. Like, I mean, if you are quick and do launches every third month or something, then it might not be as a big deal. I mean, because people are so used to it, and it's a business as usual in that sense. But now it's like my first in so many years, like, proper selling pattern that I want to get out. Then it's very mental, like, oh god, get over that, just finish it.
Yeah, and you should know, I mean, I'm here cheering you on, and I know all the listeners are cheering you on, and I know that you will get a lot of support from everyone that is also listening to this podcast. And remember that there is a community behind you, and that is looking forward to see what you have. And in order for them to discover it, you also need to put yourself out there. So, because you don't want to end up in a situation where someone who is following you on some type of channel or on your, it's like, oh, did you release a pattern? I had no idea. Because I do this too. I mean, I'm speaking to myself, and I think that's because people are subscribing to your newsletter and following you on Instagram and listening to this pod because they're curious about the things that you are doing. And so you have to take that into account and make sure that it shows up, because it's easy, oh yeah, I'm just talking about it in one post, or I'm doing this, and yeah, but that's not you have to in order to reach a lot of people, you have to repeat, because the algorithm is gonna bury a lot of the stuff, and for some reasons, even though perhaps they are curious about your next pattern, they might not listen to our podcast for a while because they've listened to other podcast episodes and they missed that you launched a pattern. I mean, it's the same thing happening all over. So don't be afraid to repeat yourself.
No.
I learned that as a journalist as well. I had the same revelation, because when you write stories, you feel like, okay, I've already written this story, so I mean, it's already been in the paper, and then you regularly get feedback that we didn't write enough about this particular topic, and we that was working. The journalists were like, but we have already written about that 6 months ago. Why do we need to talk about this again? It's like, come on, I mean, it's done. And so, but you have to, so you didn't remember every single article that I wrote and kept that in mind 6 months later, because I used to feel almost a little bit upset that they had, but I wrote about that 3 months ago and I didn't see that. So that kind of was a revelation that you have to keep repeating yourself. If something is interesting to other people, keep talking about it over and over and over again. And also, I mean, for you now, I think it's going to be when you have released this pattern, I think it's going to free up, because this is you did release the Malvati last year, but this is your first paid pattern release in how many years? It's been quite a few years.
I don't know, to be honest. 3-4 years, something like that. Yeah, because I think the Batula top was the last one you released. That was probably, but it was several years ago. It was 3. So again, and you also, of course, released the dress for Talco magazine. But this is your first proper, like, on your own brand launch in several years. So I think you have managed to build up. You have built up a stronger following over these years. So you also have a bigger audience. So I think you have to have confidence in that too. That you're in the best place you've ever been now to do a launch. So putting your best foot forward and really making that launch great, you have a really good window of opportunity now to get that needle moving in towards the direction. I think this is definitely, you have your golden moment right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's so true. And you only launch once, so you really need to take advantage of that and do it properly. It's. I got lots of ideas. Well, not ideas. I got a lot of to-dos.
To-dos, yes. But it's interesting because once you start going, it kind of unlocks more ideas. I've noticed that as well as I started to blog again this week. And I've already have so many ideas now for blog posts. It's like action is probably, I saw a study about that as well, or maybe it was some scientist or something like that who made that argument that action is actually not sitting with a pen and paper and trying to figure out. Action is usually the best way to unlock creativity, because once you get started, then when you start doing one type of content now or figuring out, it's probably going to open up a lot of new ideas that we haven't even addressed in this podcast episode. And I'm also sure now that you will, when you go on Instagram or or watch the newsletter subscribe to, you will probably see you have very clear, okay, those designers are doing this and that, so you're going to like piece together inspiration. So I think giving yourself time now to really open up your eyes for all the opportunities. And of course you cannot do everything, but just doing a proper launch and having all that prepped, because I think and being aware that it should be kind of nice and scheduled and a lot of it done, because when you launch, you will feel a little bit of exhaustion. So having a lot of material done before is definitely going to be helpful, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, we have noticed this when we wrote our book. Letting it rest for a while and then having fresh eyes going back to it, it just makes a huge difference. I mean, for example, when I'm gonna write the sew along, I plan to do a lot on that week now before I go on summer holiday, and then read it all again afterwards before I'm not going to publish anything during that week, but wait, prepare everything, and then just be able to push publish on all those things. So I have everything prepped, and then when you reread it a couple of weeks later, maybe you notice something that can be improved, and so to really get the best out of it. But what did you said you wrote a blog post. What did you write about?
I did the first one because as we talk about all of this, the dig where you stand. So I've done one blog post now, which is about common sewing mistakes and sewing machine mistakes. I just did sewing because we did an episode recently that went really well about common sewing mistakes, and I kind of narrowed it down to sewing machine mistakes. And I tried to, instead of doing 10 mistakes, which you can do at least, I just did 4, and I expanded upon that and did a little video stuff. And so I felt, okay, I also thought that, now everyone is reading on mobile, I can do it short and sweet, I don't have to do this long, because I just want to get it done and published. So I just did 4 things, and then I just realized I had this great idea several years back that I just forgot about, and the working title was that I've sewn for 40 years and this is stuff I've learned. So now I'm doing a blog post right now about realizations that I've had over the years and that I have to remind myself over, and that I'm also going to turn into a YouTube video, and I'm also going to turn sewing machine mistakes into a YouTube video, and I will also do a video on how to sew jeans faster with a freebie. So I'm gonna do like sewing like step by step, so you can save time, like batch doing all the things. Because when you're sewing jeans, is it gonna be like a freebie that you can download as well to get more people on my email list as well. And I will also do a freebie for this 40 things I've learned, because for several years ago I designed like posters that you could print, sewing themed posters that never turned out, but I will do a freebie which is double check now or rip later. It's like an illustration. So I thought I was going to do that as a freebie as well to that video, again, to get people on the email list. So and I had none of these ideas last week when we recorded the episode.
Yeah,
so it's
like,
just like
when
open the floodgates.
Did this happen? It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a nice job.
Yeah, and just because it opened it up, and I was so I feel it's also good because now I can multitask, because I'm writing the blog post now, and then I have the words within me when I start to record tomorrow, so I don't have to I just have the bullet points because I had it fresh in mind. So I'm going to finish the things I've learned of the 40 years sewing today. So so it feels awesome. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah,
You're back on track again.
Yeah, I feel like a totally new human being. So, and how do you feel now after we had this session?
Good. No, I feel 100% confident in that it will be the right decision to launch in after the summer. I'm curious, when did you launch? Because you did the similar thing last year with the Vida pants. You launched them also after the summer. When did you launch? Was it August or?
No, I always. I think your style is a little bit less wintry, but I usually launch my patterns in October.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I do not include them in my Black Friday sale for that year. So those are excluded for that.
Okay, yeah.
But
I definitely want to do it earlier. I'm thinking if August,
I would say
end
September,
of August,
not August.
Is it? Yeah, holiday
September.
maybe.
You shouldn't do it in August because we also people in a lot of countries have late vacations. I mean, we in Sweden have it a little bit earlier, many of us, but I think September is an awesome month to launch. I would not do it in August.
Yeah,
you have to get people in the, and also because your style, it's nice because it works just as well as a winter garment.
Yeah, I mean that's what I have in mind. Like, it's a little bit more office wear maybe that you can have under a cardigan or under a blazer or something.
Exactly.
So even though it is a short sleeve, like it's not you can still live through the winter and fall as well equally well. So I don't have. I don't think I will miss. I mean, sure, it would be nice to have it during the summer, but it will still work later on as well.
And I think that's also a good idea because that's what I think I've done well is to do different styling options. Because now we talk about photos, what you would show on your website to get all the views and everything like that. But I always do styling options with my pattern, so you can get an idea. Would this go nice with the denim? With a pair of jeans, as you say, with office, try to figure out is there environment, because I think it's a good idea to
now. Fall
get people
shoot.
idea exactly. And I wouldn't, because again here, because now you're launching the fall, you don't want too summery photos, even though you take them in the summer, because you have to. Even though of course we understand and know that down under in Australia, for instance, you have summer when we have winter, but for a lot of our markets, it's going to be a colder weather. So I think you need to figure that out as well, because again, that can elevate the kind of content you do outside of just having product photos.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe I'll do some summer sewing for the fall instead.
Exactly. And now you have Malena you can work with as well, because I think these are probably one of the things that really excite me, that I can think about how to style them. And I also did, which I can give you another very concrete tip, that I actually boosted sales for my girly top, which I'm wearing right now, if you're watching the video version. And I did an email newsletter where I did girly for all seasons. So because I wear and girly my knit top so much myself. And I have sewn so many that I wear privately, not just for product photos. So, and I have photos taken for, so this is, there is a summer style, there's a spring style, there was a winter style. And I mean, you could do that as well if you want to like relaunch and get intention to just see that now when you do a fall launch, then you can just, if you have garments or that will work better for summer, you can just do a relaunch and see going into summer, this is what a Bilberry top will look like in that setting. So that's a way of relaunching things that you can do, and just have that content going and show how versatile the pattern is for, as I said. I thought that was a really good idea, the season thing.
It was such a clever thing to do. Yeah. Lots of plans, so little time. Because,
so little time. 1 week.
I haven't updated you on this one, but I thought I didn't have the freelance work. I mean, the life of a freelancer, it's a roller coaster, up and down, and oh Lord. So I thought I didn't have. I thought I had work booked for this fall. It ended up things changed. I didn't, but now I'm fully booked again.
No, because I was asking you. I thought I would ask you that before we started recording, but I forgot about it. No. I mean, yes, but it's awesome. But
yay, but oh no time, but yay. So it's literally this 1 week before I go on my summer holiday that I have to work with the launch. And I'm like, photo for all the different seasons, lots of samples. Yeah, realistically, We'll
No,
see when
it's
that's going to
not-
happen.
we'll see. Yeah, but at least you know what you're doing. You're doing this at least more mindfully, and you have more. You're doing more lifting in before this launch than you've done your previous pattern. So even though you don't do all the things, I mean, you will still able to do more things after you launch the pattern. And while I think a lot of us can confirm that you will sell most during the first few weeks, you can definitely sell patterns after that, and you do that by having new content around your pattern. And we all, both you and I, we don't do trends much. We try to do timeless styles, so our patterns doesn't really age in that way. You can just update it with a different type of fabric or colorway, and just keep it alive. And I think that's something that we have. I try to think of our patterns as assets, and as for me, it's the same way. I mean, I also do a little bit of like a wardrobe building thing. So I have a jacket or a cardigan, AV. I have a pair of pants. I have a knit top. So those are very easy to build up together as well. So in the future, when you launch more patterns, maybe you have a way of doing that as well to figure it out. Help.
No, it's not that. Yeah, it has to. It can live forever, basically.
Yeah.
So I can continue working on it later on as well. But yeah, you want to get it a lift now for the launch.
Yeah. Baby steps. We're taking baby steps to help our business grow. Yeah. But this was. I hope that you found this helpful, this session, as much as I did last week.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I feel really excited also to that one magical week. I just hope that nobody gets sick during that week, so I can focus fully on working and doing a proper launch, because it has been rushed all my previous launches. So now it's like, no, take the time. You have taken the time already with this pattern, so why not take a little bit more time and do it properly, so I can do it more confidently and better, basically. And we'll see if that makes a change, basically.
Yeah, awesome. So we're very excited, and we will definitely keep our listeners updated on how this week went. So it's so interesting, and to take you behind the scenes of all this stuff, and so we have lots of interesting things that are going on. And I've also because I think I mentioned it previously, I've settled on my next pattern as well, and I was like, maybe I can be able to, depending on time, be able to launch a pattern in the fall as well, but later than you, Malena, maybe going in October, November. We'll see. So yeah, it's nice. Things are happening for us.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, we're not bored of our work.
No.
We have things to do and want to do, so that's amazing. I love to be able to love my job.
Yeah, it's a blessing for sure. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and next week we'll be probably back to regular sewing content.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to talk more about sewing, not just our therapy sessions.
Yeah. But we are very happy for those of you that chose to follow along on our journey. So thank you so much for listening. I am Johanna Lundström.
And I am Malena Hjerpe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.